P's and Q's, people. Peace and quiet. I want to talk about how you have to fight for yours and what I did when it came to mine. So I was single for a long time before I met my husband, and I wanted to meet someone who was independent and not reliant on his family and had a positive relationship, but not people that would stop over every day. And I am a veteran, and I've fought for my P's and Q's for a long time. So before I met my husband, I was in a little one-bedroom apartment. I was happy as a clam because I had my own space, and I opened the door to people I like. And visits were shorter and sweeter, but it's just I don't have people over. Yeah, I just didn't have people over for extended periods of time because I have a threshold. So I meet my husband, and this is back in 2020, and he says, my family, they live all over, and I see my mom and my sisters and this and that, but my sister and brother-in-law come up, and they park the RV on the slab there, and they stay for a week. And I said, oh, and we had just committed to each other, and I was staying there, and I had my own place, but we like being together. So I was like, okay. So I thought I'll try. And I'll tell you, it was chaotic. They came, they parked on that slab, and it was for a week, and they had 3 dogs that were out of control, and they were boisterous and loud and obnoxious, and up till 1, 2 in the morning. And then the rest of his family would come over and stay all day and night, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I cried because it was a lot. I just, and I'm not mean or anything. It just, after couple hours, I don't know what else to say, but then someone's in the house and I have to entertain them and appease them and make sure everyone's full and satisfied and this and that. And that's what we did at family parties. The hostess always made sure everyone had the mostest, and that was just it. So I tried, and I told him, I said, I just can't do it. I said to him, he says, it's only a couple more days, and I said, okay. And so then they left, and I had to lay it on the line. I said, I can handle a couple hours, but this week-long thing, no. I said, there's a campground. They can park their RV there, and we'll visit with them, and they can come over once in a while. But I said, I need separation of church and state here because I'm crying and praying all in the same breath. And then when his sister called him, because she doesn't like to hear the word no, he had to tell her, give her the news, which was good news for me and bad news for her. She threw an all-out fit. How dare you? And you promised we could use... And he said, well, life has changed, I'm married, and we don't have much space anymore. And she said, F you, and how dare you, and this and that. And she said, we know who wears the pants in your family. And he said, oh, that's not the way it is. And I guess she calls all the shots, and that's not the way it was. And so regardless, I had to fight for it. It was heck for a while. Oh, that was not easy. Why? Because my husband was put in a predicament, and I was dealing with anxiety. It's really tough. I don't take meds or anything. I have to, if I'm going through some kind of a panic attack, I have to let it ride out. I have to manage. Well, that means I have to take a break, and that's just the way it is. So, anyways, I had to fight for it. And I had to say to them, if they want to come again and stay for a week, I'll go on vacation. I'll take off. You tell them I'm in the hospital, but I'm just not going to be here. I can't do this anymore. And I said, you don't understand because you don't deal with these same struggles I do. And I said to him, what if it was my family and you were overwhelmed by them, and you said they can stay for a day, but more than that is no? And I said, I have to respect your wishes. Why? Because you're my husband and you're my person. And that's just the way it is. So anyways, I was realistic about it, but I also had to be honest about my feelings, my thoughts, my needs, my wants, and my mental health. And that's just the way it was. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I hope this helps someone else, and I will be back.